Wow, look at Sadiq. Okay. I'm sorry, הלכות גניבה, פרק חמישי. So, by פרק חמישי, הלכה א'. How did you know it wasn't on, by the way? How did you know it wasn't on? Okay, good, thank you. So if you purchase goods from a robber, you're creating a market for stolen goods, thus encouraging other robbers to rob, right? So therefore it's forbidden. Asur liknot min haganav achar sheganab. So in the sheganab. So in this case, in the case of the jewelry that was robbed this morning from the Louvre, if somebody comes say, I have a great deal for you, the jewelry is worth, I don't even know how much it's worth. Let's say $50 million. I'll sell it to you for $10 million. So really, it's forbidden to purchase these types of items. You are now encouraging this person to rob other things because he knows that he has somebody, a fence, to whom to sell the stolen goods.
Yeah, but I don't want to know where it comes from.
If you don't know, you don't know. But
no. He's selling
right,
it
no.
at a discount. I don't want to know where he got it from.
Right. No, I mean, listen, anytime you go anywhere, you can potentially find something stolen. We're not dealing with a situation where you just don't know. We're dealing with a situation where you're aware that this person is a robber and you robbed this item and he's selling it to you at a discount because you robbed it. That's different, right? There's a difference between a situation of doubt and, uncertainty. Sometimes they have people selling stuff on the street. Yeah, but that's a lot of it is counterfeit. I don't even know.
Same.
You say, I understand what you're saying. You're saying it's also
Don't answer that
it's
question.
illegal. But don't answer the question. All right, I don't know.
Stealing from the original people.
No, but that's a little. I mean, okay, no, fair enough. First of all, I agree with you that it's not right. The question is: that buying stolen goods? Is it stolen? I mean, or is it just that you're copying, or maybe you're diminishing the value of the trademark? Okay, fair enough. Not even arguing the point, but this is dealing with the situation of actual stolen goods, right? There's a pasuk in Mishle. This pasuk written by Shlomo HaMelech, Cholek im ganav soneh nafsho. A person who divides the booty or the robbed property with the robber hates himself, right? Because he's going to be punished for that. So Shlomo HaMelech is warning: don't do business with the robber, thinking, I got a good shortcut, and I'm going to get these goods at a cheap price. Just don't do it. You're going to end up hurting yourself. So that's a basic halacha.
Okay, so Rabbi,
yes, sir.
I think the example that they brought up about buying something bootleg,
Yeah.
like let's say pocketbook, watch,
Right.
whatever it is,
Right.
Because there are people that are paying. You could buy something for $20 that somebody paid something almost exactly the same $1,500 for.
Right.
So the question is it against the halakha to buy from these people that are selling these bootleg?
Right. So bootleg means it's not a situation of counterfeit.
It is.
That's what. Oh, you're dealing with counterfeit. So it's an interesting question. So now somebody in China, he decides to create this cheap version of something else. Interesting question. Am I allowed to do that? Well, first of all, you understand the difference between that question and what we're dealing with. What we're dealing with is a clear case of robbery. I can't buy these fence goods. Okay, put that on the side. And here, you're dealing with a situation where a person already created the goods, and now by purchasing from him, you're actually ruining the original person, because now the original person who manufactured it spent a lot of money. The Chinese, what?
It's not stolen. It's stolen intellectual property.
Right, it's stolen intellectual property. It's a different situation. I would say that I don't know how comfortable I would feel supporting this Chinese person. It ultimately goes back to China, right? So supporting the Chinese theft of intellectual property. As an attorney, I once had a client who used to make these inventions. This is when I lived in Israel. He was a client of the firm, and at some point he came to me. He said he stopped making inventions. I said, "Why did you stop making inventions?" He said, "Because every time I make an invention, I take it to the factory in China to manufacture it, and they end up robbing it, and then I see it sold for like half of what I can't sell it for that price because they didn't have to spend the money to develop it. I had to spend the money to develop it, to research it." What?
Amazon does the same same thing.
Oh, Amazon does that as well?
That's why you'll have to go to China.
It was on the streets before.
Really? Are you
before
serious?
The guy even brought
Oh.
it in.
But it's illegal. I mean, it is illegal.
Go after them, good luck.
Yeah, right, exactly. Interesting. I didn't realize that. Okay, look. What else? My answer is as follows. My answer to the question, therefore, is as follows. So the good doctor asks us a question. My answer is, according to halakha, it's forbidden to buy robbed goods. As far as this thing, I'm not saying it's allowed. I didn't. I'm not sure if this is the way the market works and the U.S. economy. I don't know. I don't know how to deal with it. I can deal with what the halakha says. I do not. Obviously, I'm for putting the Chinese out of business and stopping. It's an immoral practice. It's a destructive practice. It hurts the people who are the inventors. But I'll leave it at that because you're telling me Amazon does it. So now I just bought I don't know something in Amazon. Did I also violate this rule? So I don't want to start preaching. And at the end of the day, hey, you see all these Amazon packages. I don't know about you guys, but I have kids. You have kids. Do you feel like your house is so you have like a logistics center in your house to deal with all the packages, packing, unpacking, repacking, returning, not returning, who's driving, right? Right.
The only reason anybody buys tape.
Well, right, tapes and boxes and whatever. I can't keep track of it. I just have like a pile of boxes and they keep getting higher and higher. Do these packages belong to anyone in the house? No, not me, nobody. Okay, I don't know. I know I paid for it. That's all I know. Okay, let's continue. So, Hagonevu machad v'no yashua ba'alim. Now, interesting. Let's say it happened. Let's say there was a robber, and the robber sold his goods. Let's say he sold a bicycle. Okay, he robbed a bicycle, and he sold it to the Uven. So the Uven now has this bicycle. V'no yashua ba'alim, the owner of the bicycle, he passes by the Uven's yard, and he says, "That's my bicycle. What is it doing in your? Like it got robbed." You robbed me? No, I didn't rob you. I paid for this bicycle. Really? You paid for this bicycle? Well, it's mine. Now, according to Jewish law, if the original owner of the bicycle, didn't give up hope of finding his bicycle, he's still the owner of the bicycle. You understand the point? That's called Yeush. Yeush means, I now am the owner of the bicycle. I then wake up, I say, oh my gosh, where's my bicycle? I can't find it. Uli, somebody took it. I'm going to find that person. I'm going to find him. I'm still looking and looking. And in my heart, I feel like I'm going to find it. Right? That's called, there's no Yeush. No Yeush means I didn't give up hope. And as I'm looking for the bicycle, again, I didn't give up hope. I see it's in Uven's backyard. What is it doing in your backyard? He tells me that he bought it. Okay. Who do you buy it from? I bought it from Mr. Robber. Okay. So now I bring on the original owner of the bicycle, the Oven. He brings Edim. This is Oven's bicycle. So he has two witnesses. They come to court. They bring the buyer to court. They bring the buyer to court. This is an Oven's bicycle. So he has the two Edim. He established the fact that it was originally his bicycle, right? And and they said, we saw the robber robbing it. So we know who the robber is. We know who the original owner is. According to halakha, the bicycle goes back to the original owner. Because the original owner never gave up hope. And because he never gave up hope, he stole the owner of the bicycle. And therefore, as a matter of property law, you return it. The buyer returns the bicycle to the original owner. Understand?
Okay, so the buyer's out money. Right.
Okay, so let's continue.
How do you know he had an intention not to make your share?
I'm sorry, repeat.
The guy who owned the bicycle.
Yeah.
Does he have to verbalize that I still have hope that I'm going to find
Oh, yeah. Oh, how did you, all right, yeah, exactly. We trust his word. Right, meaning the only way we can establish whether there was or wasn't Yeush be'alim, that's the thing. Hefker is something different. The only way is he has to say, lo nitya. We accept his testimony.
5 years later.
Okay, no, so exactly, it has to be under reasonable circumstances, right? Because there could be circumstances where it was a week later, and then we ask him, but it's also similar laws with respect to somebody finding an object that belonged to another person. So one of the issues we're going to deal with is, was there Yeush Ba'alim? did the person who lost the object give up hope of ever finding the object? That's one of the main issues that we look at. Yeush Ba'alim. Now this is what's called Yeush Shelo Midat. He doesn't even know he lost it, but under the circumstances, anybody who realized where the object fell or where the object was lost would have given up hope. Oh my gosh, I'm never going to see that again, right? I'll give you an example. You drop your wallet in the middle of Times Square. I don't know. It's like you say, "Oh, that's a kaparat avonot. I'm never going to see my wallet again," right? Like you begin to realize it's all hope is lost. So there also has to be a reasonable basis for not having given up hope. So and he will ask him, he said, "Lo nityaashti," fair enough. "Lo nityaashta," bicycle goes back to the original owner.
The bottom line though is, if he didn't give up, you have to give it back. And if he did give up, then
Oh no. So step number one. There's going to be a few details here. Step number one is he didn't give up hope. Okay, in that case, he still owns a bicycle. So give him the bicycle. It's his. But here's the tricky part. The original owner of the bicycle now is to give the money to the buyer. The buyer didn't do anything wrong.
he has to pay him back for it?
He has to pay him. The buyer paid $100 for the bicycle. Now, the original owner can come and say, "Give me my bicycle back. It's my bicycle. I want it." Okay, he gives it back to him. It's his. He has to pay the $100 that he paid the robber.
Can he just
The
say,
original
"Well,
owner has to pay to the buyer the $100 of the buyer paid to the robber. He has to reimburse him.
Does he have an option to just let him keep it?
It's like a reward. You
Yeah,
find
yeah,
that
sure.
back,
If he wants to keep it, then no problem. Keep my
Yeah, I
bicycle.
don't-
I don't need the money. I'd rather have the money than the bicycle. Go for it, buddy. I'm not telling you when the chain falls off, but you're going to be going a certain speed and you're going to find out what happens. Good luck to you, right? That type of conversation. Okay, take my bicycle. I'm staying with. I'm keeping the money, right? Now the reason we did that is mipene takanat hashuk. We wanted to. We don't want to. When you have an economy, it's important always to keep transactions going in the economy, right? Now, if you had a rule that, okay, I'm buying something, and I see my friend is selling me a bicycle. Now I'm gonna wait, what happens if it was robbed? So people are gonna stop buying things because then the original owner comes back, give me my bicycle. Oh, okay, I paid $100. I'm just out $100. So the Chachamim wanted to make sure, as a matter of economic policy, to keep transactions going. So therefore, we don't want a legitimate buyer, a person who bought something in good faith, to lose his money. You understand?
And now what happens with the robber?
Oh, okay. Now the original owner of the bicycle, he got his bicycle back, right? Okay, he paid $100 to the buyer.
Yeah.
Now he's going to go to the robber. The robber is the real culprit. The buyer is, oh right, fair enough. But the buyer didn't do anything wrong. He was a good faith buyer. I go somewhere, I go to a jewelry store, I buy jewelry. Somebody comes back to me, the police come, they say this jewelry was robbed. Oh my gosh, I didn't know. They want it back. Okay, no problem. I paid $1,000 for it. Reimburse me. It's a very legitimate law.
Yeah.
Why should the buyer be the one to carry the burden of losing the money? He didn't do anything wrong.
Which law?
The law that says
The
that.
Torah law or the American law? 'Cause
Oh
the
no.
American law, they
Oh, I don't know
pay
what is the American law.
They don't pay
No,
for
no,
anything.
just take the item and that's it.
Confiscate the goods and you're out.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's your fault for buying from the.
Okay, so in America, same situation. Original owner of the bicycle gets the bicycle back, and the buyer basically loses his money.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's not a good law. That's not a fair law, because you're making the buyer, who really is not, he shouldn't even be a party to this
I
dispute.
mean, you can sue
The-
whoever you bought it from. but-
Yeah, good luck, right, yeah, good luck, yes, exactly, like,
Okay, I have a question.
yes,
Take all that out.
yeah.
They stole my bike. I saw it in this, this guy's yard. That's my bike, and I take it back.
Okay,
Just take it.
You're going to jail.
yeah, so you owe him the money. You can take it back, but you owe him the money.
But I gotta even talk to him. I'm thinking he stole it.
No,
and
he
I take
think
it
I
back.
found it, right, he found it.
Okay, I mean, it could be, and maybe they'll
In a perfect
maybe
world.
they'll have some sort of proceeding. But if you actually were called into a proceeding, and they say, "Why did you take the bicycle?" Say, "It was my bicycle,"
If you can prove it's yours, it's
and
yours.
you
That's
have
all.
to redeem, and no problem, and that's good. But you're gonna have to pay. Because from the perspective of Jewish land, it makes a lot of sense. Think of this. The two parties to this dispute, there was the criminal, which is a robber, and there was the victim of the criminal, which is the owner of the bicycle. The person who lost here is the victim, the owner of the bicycle. Now, the buyer is just he's just a person in the economy doing a good faith transaction. He should not be the victim of the robbery.
Yeah, but he knows the bike is $3,000. He bought it for $100.
Oh, that's different. We're dealing, no. I was careful. I said a good faith buyer. A good faith buyer doesn't know, and therefore we say you have to pay him back.
So what are we learning here? Good faith buyer? Or
Good
somebody
faith
that
buyer.
knows?
No. So far we're dealing with a good faith buyer, right? As also in American law, in the same way you said the American law, good faith buyer, same situation. He doesn't know, whatever. You just wow, that's a very interesting law. As we said, the original owner now has to go to the robber and tell the robber, pay me back. Okay.
The owner or the buyer has to go back to the robber?
No. The buyer is happy. He gave the bicycle to the original owner, and he got paid. So he's okay. Thank God, Baruch Hashem. I'm out of this. I don't want to be involved in this. Do me a favor, keep me out of this thing. But the original owner, he had to pay for his bicycle. He lost the money. He's going to go to the robber and tell the robber, "Look, buddy, give me my money back." Right?
What if he damages it? Like, let's say I bought a bike.
Yes.
And now I'm riding it.
Right.
And I smash it, whatever, by accident. And I'm walking it home, and Joey's like, "That's my bike. You smashed it."
Look.
No, I bought that.
But it's an interesting question. You don't have in the case of a shomer, the shomer has an obligation,
Right.
but here you're not a
Right,
shomer,
it's your own
so you have no obligation. You have no obligation. So give him the bicycle back, and there should be no liability for that damage
And he's
because you
supposed
had
to
no
pay me.
obligation to protect the
And
bicycle.
he's supposed to pay me.
It's also a better thing. Okay. Okay. Now.
That's crazy.
Okay. ואם גנב מפורסם הוא, לא עשו בו תקנת השוק, ואין הבעלים נותנים ללוקח כאילו. Now we said until now we were dealing with a good faith buyer. Let's say we're dealing with a non-good faith buyer, which is to say that when you went to buy that bicycle, you knew this guy's a crook. This guy is known as a crook. He's robbed bicycles before. For example, I'm giving you like a case where we don't have to debate whether it's good faith or not. So you go to this person who is in the business. Remember there was a time in Brooklyn in the 80s where you couldn't leave your radio in the car because they'd always like rip off the radio. Go back to the guy and like buy back your radio.
The Benzie box.
The Benzie box, exactly. So like there was also what they were.
The shield.
The shield, yes, the shield. So they had chop shops. That's the word I'm looking for. Remember the chop shops? Where you go to a chop shop and you buy the pieces of your car back. So you knew that they were robbers. You knew these guys are crooks.
But you needed the part.
You needed the part, yeah, exactly. You needed the part. Now, let's go back to the bicycle. So this person robbed the bicycle and he says, "Look, I'll give you a good deal. I'll sell it to you for like $100 instead of $200, let's say." That's ganav mefursam, right? So you're not a good faith buyer. Lo asubo takanat hashuk. In this case, we're not gonna give him any benefit. What does that mean? The original owner looks at this non-good faith buyer. Where did you get that bicycle from? I paid for it. Really? It's my bicycle. In that case, Joey Shahova says, go to the backyard, grab the bicycle, and you don't have to pay him anything because he's not a good faith buyer, right? At this point, the buyer who shouldn't have bought the bicycle in the first place because he knows that this guy is a robber. So why are you buying it from him? You know it's a stolen goods. Okay, you caused this problem for yourself. Now you take the ganav, take the robber to court and say, "Hey, he sold me this bicycle. I had to give it back to the original owner. I paid $100 for it." Go to the robber, tell the robber, "I'm suing you for $100," and try to get the $100 from the robber.
See if you don't get killed.
And see if you don't get killed. Exactly.
Would the same apply if you're buying these fake pocketbooks from canals?
Right. So we had this conversation, like, so yeah. Look, I don't want to preach because apparently I was also told that a lot of the things we buy from Amazon are also counterfeit or whatever. But of course, we would like, if a person is in a situation where he knows something is robbed and not robbed, then he has to try to minimize whatever damage you do, right, in the world. I always try to look at it that way. To always try to minimize the damage if we can. But it's a little different, right? You see the difference, Albert, between buying something that was robbed and buying a knockoff. When you buy a knockoff, yeah, it's you're stealing somebody's. You said Ike, intellectual property. You're stealing intellectual property. It's a slightly different crime, right?
But would Chanel have the right to go and say, give me all those fake pocketbooks?
No.
That's our design?
No.
Yeah.
They'd be able to go to the original robber
No, they do.
or the factory in China and sue the factory. They wouldn't be able to sue the people who bought from the factory because it's not really the property that's being robbed here is IP. I'm not becoming an owner in the IP. I bought this specific object. This object wasn't robbed, right? The IP was robbed, and he used the robbed IP to make this pocketbook. So when I'm purchasing this pocketbook, I'm not purchasing something that is not mine. Nobody has a right to come and take this pocketbook. Well, they do have a right is to go to the person and say, why did you use my IP to make that pocketbook? So it really is a very, I think now that we discussed
It's
it,
allowed.
it's a
There's no
clear
concept.
distinction between robbed IP, knocked off goods, and buying stolen goods. Stolen goods, the actual property belongs to someone else. Knocked off IP is property that belongs to whoever bought it, and it was made in an illegitimate fashion, but that doesn't reduce my ownership interest in what I bought. So that's the way I look at
Yeah,
it.
like, is there a concept of IP or copyright in Jewish law?
There's a concept of lo tasi gebul re'echa.
What does that mean?
And lo tasi gebul re'echa means if there's a boundary, you shouldn't encroach upon the property rights of your friend. It's a broader term, right? So he has a boundary, let's say he has a fence between his field and your field, and you're going to kind of encroach into his field. So let's say you have some animals grazing, and you're going to encroach into the field and start having your animals and graze on his field. That's the classic case. But it also, lo tasi gebul re'echa also means the goodwill that he built. So or IP. When I speak about goodwill, I mean in the intellectual property sense. So he, for example, I built a beautiful cafe bakery. And nobody used to come here for a cafe bakery, but now after years, everybody knows they go to this corner, there's a great cafe, great bakery. I built it, I worked hard, and now everybody's coming. And now somebody said, hey, I'm going to build a cafe bakery next to him because it's already a great spot. The first person built up the spot. He's the one who built up the goodwill. The second person now is encroaching upon the property rights of the first one. Now, in that case, if I went to the second bakery and I bought stuff from him, are you going to accuse me of robbing or purchasing stolen goods? No. But it's true that those goods were made using somebody else's property rights. So that's why I distinguish between fence goods, which is actual robbed property which belongs to somebody else, and goods that were made illegitimately, which is lo tasi gebul re'echa. But in that case, I wouldn't come to the customer. I would come to the person.
Proprietor.
Exactly. You see the difference?
Yeah.
This is my initial. It's not a simple issue, but this is the way I view the matter. All right.
Is the guy allowed to open the store next to him?
No, he should not. He's absolutely not. It's haram. It's a big averah. Why are you taking away the guy's panasa?
But yeah, how long? They did that for years.
Oh really?
And they really-
Oh, it's haram.
But yeah, how long?
But
What did you deal with the butcher this summer?
Rabbi, if you're going to have them use all the same stores, you have.
Wait, hold on. I'm explaining to you. Let me explain. So they you just said Bayam is very similar to Cholon. They say like Syrian, Israeli stuff, right? Right. You can't do that. According to Halakha, you cannot do that. I cannot now go to that place and say, okay, this guy just developed this new brand, a new idea, and I'm going to open a store next to him, and now they're going to come to me. The people who are coming to him will now come to me. Haram. You can't do
How
that.
many butchers we have? You can't have just one guy has monopoly on all the.
Wait, hold on one second. That's a little right. There's a little right. It's a little different. And by the way, in the shuk, if you go to the shuk, you see a lot of people have stands next to each other. So it has to be an idea. That's why I brought the example of cafe and coffee. Like that's a nice.
Competition brings business.
Oh, is that right? All right, interesting. Let's continue. It is an interesting topic. Maybe one day we should give a class on that. That would be an interesting topic to teach about. But let's get back to here now. All right. So for example, I know in the case of Uri's
Cassie.
and Chesky's. So I know that there was explicit attempts to like encroach upon the other's business. So like Uri's was selling vegetables, so Chesky's is saying we're going to start selling vegetables, right? And I think that I'm not saying who's to blame. I have no idea. I don't know anything about the situation. But that would be a good example of, and now Uri's is saying, okay, Chesky's is doing this, we're going to do that. I like back and forth ping-ponging. So stay in your fence.
Stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane, and don't try to encroach upon somebody else's business. All right. All right. Assalamu alaikum.
I doubt both.
All right. All right. All right. So those are the two situations. Again, just to summarize, if it's a good faith buyer, the good faith buyer returns the goods to the original owner, and he gets the money from the original owner. If it's a bad faith buyer, again, he would return the goods to the original owner, but in this case, he wouldn't get the money back from the original owner. He would have to go to the robber and get the money back from the robber. You understand the difference? Okay. That's when there was no Ye'ush Be'alim. Let's say there was Ye'ush Be'alim, Nityashua Be'alim and Geniba. So this is the next halakha. If there was Ye'ush, that means that technically speaking, the original owner no longer owns the bicycle. He gave up hope. So Ye'ush Be'alim, the bike was robbed. Oh, I'm never going to see this bike again. It's terrible. You know, and then a week later he finds the bicycle. But you already had Ye'ush. So now he finds the bicycle, he sees it there, and it's like, that's my bicycle. Well, it used to be yours, it's not yours anymore. You understand? So let's read the halakha. Nityashua Be'alim min Geniba. Ben shenityashu v'achakach machar ganav, ben shenityashu achar shemachar. It doesn't matter when the Ye'ush took place. It could be that the robber had possession of the bicycle, and there was Ye'ush Be'alim while the robber had possession, or it could be that the robber already sold it to the buyer, and the Ye'ush Be'alim took place afterwards.
So it's a time lapse?
Yeah, and it doesn't matter. The bottom line is that since there was Ye'ush Be'alim, since the original owner gave up hope, that's it. Kana halokech be'Ye'ush v'shinu reshut. So according to Jewish law, that's considered a transfer of property ownership. Transfer of property ownership requires two things in this case. Number one, the original owner gave up hope. Number two, it went from the original owner to the buyer. So for example, if the robber still held it, now the robber is still holding on to the original robbed item, the jewelry from the lube, whatever it is. The fact that the original owner gave up hope doesn't matter. He still owns it. You understand? In order for the original owner to be considered no longer the owner, for there to be a transfer of ownership from the original owner to a new owner, there has to be two things. Ye'ush Be'alim, the original owner gave up hope, and physical possession by a new owner, by a new person. You understand? That's why there's Ye'ush Be'alim. I want to make sure that it's clear.
Not by the ganav.
Not by the ganav, but the ganav is still holding it. Even if there was Ye'ush Be'alim, the original owner still owns that object. Yeah. In any event, let's go back to our case. So the robber robs the bicycle, he sells it to, let's say, the Reuven, and the original owner gave up hope, and one day he's walking by the Reuven's backyard, and he sees his bicycle. That's the bicycle. I thought I lost it. I thought I would never see it again. Really? You thought you would never see it again? Can you just repeat that in the presence of two witnesses? Yeah. Why not? Can you say that more loudly? I thought I would never see this bicycle again. I'm so happy to see it. He doesn't know the law. He just said it in the presence of the two witnesses. Now the buyer is going to go to court with the two witnesses.
Wow.
And the two witnesses are going to say, yeah, we heard him say, I thought I would never see this again. There you have it. Ye'ush Be'alim.
That's crazy.
You understand? Okay.
Be careful what you wish.
So never give up hope.
Or if you give up hope, don't say it out loud.
Does it work that way in regular law? If somebody buys these crown jewels from the Louvre, can the government go and just confiscate it and then that person?
I mean, according to Jewish law, you would have to pay the buyer, right? That was what we were saying. Meaning, you can return it to the original owner. They were mentioning before you came in that in American law, it's not like that. In American law, you would just take the robbed item away from the buyer, and he would lose. In Jewish law, you'd have to pay him. But here, there was Yeush Be'alim, so Kana Halokeh Be'Yeush, as the original, so the buyer says, it's my bicycle. ואינו מחזיר הגניבה עצמה לבעליה, אלא נתן להם הדרים לקח מגנב וגנב. In this case, there's a distinction. If when the buyer bought the bicycle, he knew he was buying fence goods, he would get to keep the bicycle, but you knew that it's robbed and you still bought it, pay the original owner. But if it's as usually the case, he didn't know it was fenced, he didn't know it was robbed. The original owner comes, oh my gosh, I thought I'd never see this again. Oh, okay, he has the 2 witnesses, great. I just proved that I'm the owner. I don't even have to pay for it. It's mine. I don't have to return it because it was Yeush, and because of the Yeush, there was a transfer of ownership, so I'm now the owner, right? But because I'm a good faith buyer, I don't have to pay him. So I get to keep it, and that's it. You figure it out. You're the original owner. Go to the robber, find him somewhere. Good luck with that. Bring him to court and try to, persuade the court why he should pay you and how much he should pay you. Right? You understand the law? Okay, so that's any questions before we go to the next halakha?
What if you do find them in the court? How much can we get out of them?
So that's the next halakha. So now let's say the buyer now he. Let's say, again, the original owner, wow, my bicycle, unbelievable, great, give me my bicycle, no Yeush, okay. So he says, okay, I'll give you the bicycle. I paid $1,000 for it. What are you, Majnoon? You paid $1,000, this bicycle is a junky bicycle. It's worth $100, why do you pay $1,000? No, I paid $1,000 for it. According to halakha, now he has to pay, the original owner has to pay the buyer. Good faith buyer. We're dealing with a good faith buyer. He didn't do anything wrong, but he says, I paid $1,000. Well, if he paid $1,000, the original owner would have to pay $1,000 to the buyer, but he doesn't believe him. The guy's saying, what are you, crazy? You're going to pay $1,000 for this junky bicycle? There's no way you paid $1,000, so what do we do? You understand the question?
Oh, yeah.
How do we establish, that was what Mikey just asked, how do we establish what the price of the bicycle is? What did he pay? Okay, he said, ask the robber. You can't ask the robber. The robber is pasul shavuah. He's not going to make a shavuah. So what are you going to do? So now, this is where shavuah comes in. You say you paid $1,000 for it? No problem. Bring out the Sefer Torah. Bring out the Sefer Torah, put it on the teva, hold the Sefer Torah, and while you're holding the Sefer Torah, make a shavuah in the name of God, what you paid for it. Let's see what you're going to say, $1,000. You're going to say $1,000? Okay. Right, nobody in their right mind would do that. And if they did it, they wouldn't finish the day, or they wouldn't finish. I told you the story once with Adam Chaliah. You know the story, right? Right?
My story.
I know I said it, but I'll say it again. So Haram Chaliah, I got Semichat Ravanut from him. I always loved him. He had an intense kedusha. There's some stories about him, really crazy stories, and I'm not into crazy stories, but in this case, I saw it myself. So there was one situation where, in modern Jewish law, we prefer that people not make shavuot, because as I said, to hold on to the Sefer Torah and to make a shavuah, nobody in their right mind would do it. But then when the modern state of Israel, there was a lot of chilonim, secular Jews, who lost the way, and the Hachamim realized that these people would make a shavuot sheker. So because of that, what the Chachamim try to do when there's a dayanut, when there's a case coming to court, they try to do what's called a peshara. Peshara means we try to reach some sort of understanding between the parties, right? So, what?
Compromise.
Some sort of compromise, yeah. So there was once one of these people, he said, I don't want to do a compromise. I want to go according to Jewish law. The original Jewish law is, I get to do a shavuah. So Haram Chaliah, he says, no, that's not the way we do it. We don't do shavuot. We're going to do a peshara. Let's try to reach an understanding. He said, I don't want to do a peshara, and I know what the halakha is. And the halakha is, I do a shavuot. I want to do a shavuot. I was back and forth. He says, this is what I want. I want to do a shavuot. So the Chacham, Rabbi Chaliah, says, okay, fine. So come back Tuesday night. We're going to be in the Knis. We're going to take out the Sefer Torah. This is what you want. This is what you want. 8 o'clock Tuesday night, they're supposed to be in the Knesset, everybody's there, the Dayanim are there, Harav Chaliyahu was one of 3 Dayanim, he was there, the other side is there, everybody's there waiting, guy doesn't show up, it's 8 o'clock, he's supposed to show up, he's late, 8:15, 8:30, 9 o'clock they get a call, the guy died, never made it.
He was a Chinoni.
Don't know, but we know that he was gonna make a Shavua, and he never got the opportunity to make a Shavua. Okay, so, and I know why, because Bar Minan, if somebody makes a Shavua, check it, holds on to a Sefer Torah, Bar Minan, the Halakha says that it could be damaging to the people who are present. And Harav Chaliyahu was present, and God was not gonna let that happen. So he dealt with it the way he dealt with it. The Almighty dealt with it the way he dealt with it, right? Right? The pasuk says, "Suru nam be'aolei anashim harashayim ha'ele ve'al tigeu b'chol asher lahem." It's talking about Korach, but the Chachamim say, if somebody makes a Shavua sheker, if somebody's making a Shavua, run away, don't be there, because if he's going to make a Shavua sheker, bar minan, it could be like very, very bad. So that's what happened. Yeah. So getting back to here, so they tell the guy, "Oh, you paid $1,000? Bring out the Sefer Torah. Hold on to the Sefer Torah and make a Shavua in the name, using the name of God, pronouncing the name of God. That I paid $1,000. Let's see how that goes. Go for it, okay? So that's how we establish. That's how we establish that fact. Let's skip. I'm going to give you the last page. It's a nice halakha here. I want to, yeah. Okay. Any questions on this before we continue? Okay. Actually, let's actually continue according to the order. Maybe we'll do that next week. Halakha Vav. Yeah. Ganav. Oh, you don't have halakha Vav?
No.
Okay, so I'll give you the next page. Okay. Here we go. We go to halakha Chet. You see the Chet over here. I'm going to give you also, don't worry. And Jeff. Okay. Mike, halakha Chet. Okay. Get a few pages here. I just printed these out as I was on the way out of my house, so I didn't have a chance to organize. So how many people we have here? Let's give 3 this way, and then we'll get. No, but take, at least you have these. At least you have Hayat, and then we'll have Jeremy. Give Jeremy one also, and one to Jeremy. Okay. Okay. All right. Right. So very interesting halakha. This what? You good? Hayat. Hayano sheba ganav me'azuz. Very interesting halakha. So a person lent money to the robber, and the robber owes him $100. Okay, the ganav ve'avi lebal chavo, and the robber robbed the money, and he used the money, or he robbed an object. Let's say he robbed an object. He robbed the watch. Okay, Yashat, somebody got a watch and gave it to the creditor, to the person who lent him the money. Here, $100 watch. Perfect. Thank you very much. Robert says, you know what? Can I have another loan? I paid back my first loan. Maybe you can make me another loan. He says, what do you need? He says, I need $100. Okay. Makes him a second loan of $100. Now the edim come, witnesses come. They say that watch that belongs to Reuven. Reuven was the original owner of the watch. So in this case, he has to return the watch to the original owner. Now he says, what do you mean? This watch was returning the $100. He owed me $100, and he gave me the watch in exchange for the $100. Why are you coming to me? But didn't you make him a second loan of $100? You wouldn't have made him the second loan of $100 if it wasn't for the watch that he robbed. So that watch was the reason for the second loan of $100, right? So it says, Lech, we tell the lender, go, now go get $200 from the robber. He owes you lent him $200. You thought he paid you back. He didn't pay you back because he didn't own the watch. Since he didn't own the watch, he couldn't have possibly paid you back. You made him a loan. You decided to trust the robber. You lent him the money. You lent him 100, then you lent him another 100. Next time, be careful who you lend money to. but in the meantime, the watch goes back to the original owner. And unlike the previous cases where we tell the original owner, okay, so give him the money, right? Remember we said Reuven bought the robbed watch. Original owner comes, he says, watch is mine. Okay, return the watch. What does the original owner of the watch have to do?
Yes,
Give $100
whatever he paid.
to Reuven, whatever he paid. In this case, he would say, go to the lender and give him the $100. He returns the watch, but you give him $100. No, because in this case, he wasn't doing he wasn't purchasing something. He thought he was getting his loan back. It's true he didn't get his loan back, fair enough, but he does not own that watch. So he returns it to the original owner. The original owner does not have to give him the $100. In this case, we told the lender, go to the robber and go try to get your money back from him. You understand? Very interesting, a subtle distinction.
Give the watch back and that's it.
Exactly. So there's a difference in a sales transaction, good faith transaction. I have a watch, I sell it to you, it ends up the watch was robbed. Okay, shame on me, shouldn't have done it. Original owner comes, gives him the money, and he returns the watch, right? There's exchange of money for watch. Here it is a loan. A loan is different. You lent the money, okay. You lent him more money, $200, that's your problem. It's not the problem of the owner of the watch. It's the problem of the lender, right?
So the lender's out the money, but the guy that put up the collateral using.
Wasn't collateral. It was just using the watch to pay back. Don't forget, back then people didn't have money. People used to pay
he was
with.
using to pay back.
It was a barter
Oh,
economy.
it wasn't like a pawn situation.
No. It wasn't a pawn situation. It was not a pawn. Good point. He was just using it to pay it back. He was paying him back with the watch, right? So you would think that the original owner gets his watch back, but he has to pay for the watch. Nope, doesn't. There was no sale. Okay. All right, gentlemen. I think we're good. Interesting class. If there's any questions,
Thank you.
yes, question,
Well, I do have one question.
please.
Because you got me thinking, what about the case where there's like a double sale? Let's say I
Ooh.
buy something stolen from somebody,
Right.
and then I sell it to Isaac.
Right, so we're gonna deal with that, Belina, the next week, because it's a little complex. But the question is, at what price did you buy it? And at what price did you sell it? Right? And then there's gonna be a system whereby we calculate what you paid for it in the first case, what the second person paid for it, what the third person paid for it, Robert and goes to the third person, and then the money has to go back the way it
Might be
came.
the broker here.
All right, gentlemen. Rabbi Yochanan,